Hey, my little manhwa population family. We're picking up right where we left off in the last video, so without wasting any time, let's jump straight into it. In the northern Beastman city, our protagonist, now sporting a fresh new look, strolls through the streets, walking alongside his new teammates. He draws the attention of every townsperson. All eyes are locked on him, their faces filled with shock and curiosity. As he moves side by side with Harvey, the Beastmen whisper among themselves. Isn't that the big goat from the Q's guild? Wasn't Harvey supposed to be the captain? When did he turn human? Another chimes in, squinting at the unfamiliar figure. Who is that guy? I've never seen him before. I don't know, another responds, but he must be strong. Even though their levels aren't publicized, he's probably at least level 19. Are you kidding? Someone else scoffs. Harvey is level 18. That guy has to be at least level 20. Stopping in front of a building, the protagonist turns to his teammates and says, "Please wait a moment." A thought crosses his mind, Sakura. He promised to meet her at the Adventurers Guild. I'm not sure if she's already here, but I'll head to the Q's Guild after this. It'd be nice to go together. I want to see her. Meanwhile, inside the guild, the fox-eared receptionist from earlier exhales a puff of smoke, casually waving off an invitation. I'm on a diet, so I'll pass on the food. The same beastmen from before, the one she had rejected, sit nearby. One of them grins and says, "If you won't eat, how about a drink? You came all this way, so at least have a drink with us." His companion backs him up. "That's right. We've invited you so many times, and you keep turning us down." Before she can answer, the protagonist suddenly appears, stepping in and pushing his way between them. "Let me through." One of the beastmen, irritated, snaps at him. "Hey kid, we're in the middle of a conversation here. You want to get punched?" But his companion narrows his eyes at the protagonist, something clicking in his mind. "Wait a second, I feel like I've seen you before." The receptionist, now recognizing him, tilts her head. "Oh, it's you. You've changed quite a bit." One of the beastmen glares. "You're the one who took our quest, aren't you? Where'd you steal that gear from?" His companion lets out a laugh. "Huh, you probably spent every last coin buying it." Ignoring them, the protagonist turns to the receptionist. "Is Sakura with you? We were supposed to meet here." The receptionist shakes her head. "I haven't seen her today. Other than these two loudmouths, no one else has stuck around." At her words, both beastmen puff up in anger. "That's right. Did you hear that? No one else is here except for these two noisy goo." They stop mid-sentence, their expressions shifting as realization dawns on them. "Wait, are we the two noisy guys she's talking about?" The receptionist sighs in disappointment. "You got it." One of the beastmen slams his hand on the table, his face twisting in rage. "This bitch is mocking us." But before he can do anything, the protagonist grips his wrist with an ironclad hold. His confident gaze doesn't waver as he speaks. "Didn't you notice she was uncomfortable?" The beastman's eyes widen as he struggles against the grip, thoughts racing. Such strength. Who is this kid? Scowling, he jerks his hand back. "You little punk." Both beastmen step back, their anger now directed entirely at the protagonist. TCH, there are guards here. It's not ideal to fight inside. One of them cracks his knuckles. "Let's take this outside." But the protagonist simply stands there in silence, unfazed. The other beastman sneers. "What's wrong? Let's go, human. Time to fight." They march toward the exit, shooting one last glare at the protagonist. "Don't think you can show off just because you blew all your money on some fancy gear. I'll knock you out in one hit." The protagonist, however, doesn't even acknowledge them. Instead, he glances at the receptionist. Sakura might still have business to attend to. "Sorry for the interruption." The receptionist blinks in surprise before suddenly realizing the situation. Panicked, she reaches out toward him. "Wait, if you go outside, they'll really beat you up. You should stay inside. I'll have the guards protect you." The protagonist glances back at the receptionist, his expression unwavering. With full confidence, he says, "I'll be fine." Meanwhile, the two beastmen sneer, puffing up their chests and tensing their muscles. "If you don't want to get knocked out right here, come outside and face me." His companion echoes in the same arrogant tone. A human causing trouble on Beastman land? How dare you? Outside the Adventurers Guild, the protagonist's companions are waiting when they spot the commotion. One of them turns towards the scene and asks, "Captain Tsuyoshi, what's going on?" Hearing the word captain referring to the protagonist, both beastmen freeze on the spot, their faces turning pale. Even the receptionist, who overhears the title, steps out of the guild, peeking through the doorway. Who is this kid? She wonders. But the protagonist, unfazed by their reactions, walks forward with complete confidence. It's nothing. Those guys started the fight. His teammates exchange looks before turning towards the beastmen, smirking arrogantly. One of them scoffs, "Huh? What did you just say? You guys picked a fight with our captain?" The two beastmen immediately panic, their bravado crumbling. It's a misunderstanding. They stammer before turning tail and bolting away. From behind, Victor watches the two run off before stepping closer and asking, "What was that about?" The protagonist shrugs. "Doesn't matter. My companion isn't here, so let's just head to the guild." As they walk through the city, the protagonist casually adds, "By the way, the quest is already over, so there's no need to call me captain anymore." But Harvey simply responds, "It's the same thing." Inside the guild conference room, the guild master leans forward, looking at Harvey with approval. "Congratulations on clearing the quest on your first try and setting a new record." Then, his expression shifts to something more serious. "But you want to have a human warrior join the next quest." Sitting across from him is none other than the guild master of Q's guild, a level 24 elemental magician. His sharp gaze fixes on Harvey. Harvey remains firm. Tsuyoshi is an exceptional talent. Thanks to him, we completed the quest. That's why we want to invite him to our guild to help us with more difficult missions. Even if the rewards are high, it will be worth it. On the sidelines, a beastman who had been listening in suddenly interjects. "This must be a joke, right?" His tone is laced with disbelief. "Your whole party is human, but our guild master is a beastman." A beastman guild being led by a human? That doesn't make sense. This beastman is one of the founding members of Q's guild, Redom, a level 23 swordsman. He scoffs. "Besides, you've only just met that human, haven't you? What if he's a spy from another guild?" Meanwhile, outside the meeting, the protagonist and his companions are discussing the situation. The protagonist repeats the words to himself. "A spy from another guild?" Luke nods, explaining further. Redom has a point. The Q's guild master and the other three founders built this guild together. Their opinions carry a lot of weight. Victor clenches his fists, his face twisting in frustration. "That guy has always treated us like outsiders, just because the president is a beastman and Captain Harvey is human. Maybe the president ignores it because Redom is from the same tribe. If Captain Harvey hadn't been kind to us, we would have left a long time ago." Luke, sensing the tension rising, quickly stops him. "Hey, Victor, drop it." Back in the conference room, Harvey keeps his tone calm and collected as he continues. Other guilds are desperate to improve and take on higher rewarding quests. With Tsuyoshi's help, our efficiency will skyrocket. We can vote for him. His observation skills and analytical abilities are top tier. But Redom isn't convinced. He scoffs again. "You guys might need a different leader, but we don't need one in our party. Aren't you the ones dragging the guild down?" His eyes narrow as he leans in slightly. "Of course you trust him. You're all humans, after all. Naturally, you'd understand each other." Then, with a bitter smirk, he adds, "Why am I even asking? Only humans can understand each other, right, Harvey?" Harvey's expression darkens, his patience wearing thin. His voice rises in frustration. "What are you saying? Are you questioning my loyalty to the guild and my party? We've worked hard to create results for this guild. Our efficiency may not be as high as yours, but we've been fighting for the guild for a long time." Another beastman mutters in annoyance. "The guild has already been controversial because of Harvey's human party. If other guilds find out we've taken a human as our leader, we'll be in trouble. The guild could collapse." He then turns to the guild master. "You understand, don't you? Think about the guild's future." Harvey's jaw tightens before he suddenly stands up, his eyes locked onto the guild master. "What do you think, guild master?" The guild master, his expression conflicted, hesitates before finally speaking. Maybe we should go with Redom's suggestion. Harvey, I understand your feelings, and they're appreciated. But we need to solve our problems ourselves. I'll send your human friend off with proper hospitality. Harvey's eyes widen in shock. Guild master, his voice is laced with urgency. But when he sees the firm resolve in the guild master's face, his shoulders slump. His voice drops in a quiet defeat. Understood. Before the tension settles, the protagonist steps forward, stopping beside Harvey. I only came here because of Captain Harvey. If that's the case, I'll leave. Then, with a casual nudge of his elbow, he smirks. Don't worry, you've got reliable companions. At those words, the entire party turns toward him, their gazes filled with determination. They don't say anything, but the conviction in their eyes is clear. Harvey, taken aback, silently watches them. With a wave of his hand, the protagonist adds, I'm leaving. It was fun fighting together. Luke steps forward, his voice hesitant. Tsuyoshi, but the protagonist cuts him off with an easygoing wave. If fate allows, we'll meet again. Until then, I'll keep leveling up. As he turns to leave, Redom crosses his arms and smirks, shifting his weight onto one foot. Take care, human. His voice drips with condescension. Harvey, his hands clenched into fists, glares at Redom. Don't you get it? He has the potential to change the future of this guild. We could have grown stronger with his help, but now we've lost that opportunity. Redom chuckles, his arrogance unwavering. Huh, that's laughable. What can a human warrior do? That quest clearance was just luck. Harvey's frustration boils over, but he takes a deep breath before turning away. Enough. Let's go. Don't regret this. Outside the guild, the protagonist walks through the city, lost in thought. Where should I level up next? Or should I look for Sakura? His brows furrow slightly. I need to apologize to her. She worked so hard on that shirt for me, and I just ran off. Before he can decide, a familiar figure appears before him. One of the Beastmen who had been trying to recruit him into another guild. The Beastman grins. I finally found you. The protagonist raises an eyebrow. You've been looking for me this whole time? What? The Beastman suddenly shifts his expression into an exaggerated look of desperation, his voice taking on a syrupy, businesslike tone. Please help me. We got a tough request at our guild. The president asked me to find a strong person, and you're the perfect fit. Our guild welcomes you with open arms. I couldn't forget you after witnessing your strength. He leans in slightly, adding with a fake smile, the reward terms are up to you. Please, we're counting on you. The protagonist places a hand on his chin, considering it. The reward terms are up to me? What's the request? His thoughts race. If I can monetize the quest and make more money, it's a win. Seeing his interest, the Beastman's tone becomes even more urgent. Good. It's an emergency request. A wealthy merchant's daughter has been kidnapped. We need you to rescue her. Come with me. The guild master is waiting. As the Fox Beastman and the protagonist walk through the bustling city, the murmurs of the townsfolk follow them. Many glance toward the protagonist with curiosity, but he pays them no mind. Instead, he focuses on the Fox Beastman. A rescue mission for a kidnapped girl. Did your guild really take on something like that? The Fox Beastman lets out an awkward chuckle. A guild needs more than just honor, you know? We need income too. Every request is part of our revenue stream. Usually, the Adventurers Guild competes with us for high-paying jobs in the city. Our Pace Guild is well known, but securing this request was no easy task. The protagonist recalls the Darkness boss from his previous fight and smirks. So, it's a competition for high-reward requests. The payout must be decent. Around 5 gold coins, right? As he muses, he remembers the farm request he took with Sakura. It was worth 3 gold coins. Not bad at all. The Fox Beastman shakes his head. It's not that simple. The one who was kidnapped is the daughter of a very wealthy family, one of the richest in this city. The reward is 100 times that of a normal Argent request. 500 gold coins. That would cover our guild's expenses for an entire year. The protagonist stops in his tracks. 500 gold coins? His brain stutters for a moment before the Fox Beastman drops the real bomb. If you help, we'll give you half of it. The protagonist's jaw nearly drops. Half of 500? You're telling me I'd get 250 gold coins. His mind instantly conjures up an image. Sakura running around on top of a mountain of gold coins, her face filled with joy. 200 gold coins. She'd be over the moon. Before he can entertain the thought any further, they arrive at the Pace Guild headquarters. The Fox Beastman gestures toward the entrance. Hurry up and get inside. The guild master is waiting. A beastman standing by the entrance eyes the protagonist. Is this the guy the captain mentioned? Inside the guild, tension fills the air. A beastman with 2 imposing bodyguards sits at a large table, his fingers drumming against the wood impatiently. His eyes, sharp and unforgiving, glare at the Pace Guild members in front of him. His voice booms through the hall. It's already the 3rd day. Tomorrow is the deadline, just as the kidnappers demanded. What have you been doing? With a loud bang, his fist slams against the table. The entire room flinches. Let me make one thing clear. If you fail this quest, you'll pay 10 times the reward as compensation. Otherwise, I'll make sure your guild can never set foot in Northern again. Don't underestimate me. This man is none other than the wealthy merchant the Fox Beastman had mentioned earlier. His name carries immense weight in the city, and his threats are far from empty. Across from him, the Pace Guild Master, a towering level 28 hammer warrior, maintains a respectful tone, though tension lingers in his voice. This is outrageous. We are currently drafting a plan. We will definitely rescue your daughter by tomorrow. From the side, an injured beastman stumbles forward, his voice filled with panic. 10 times the reward. That's 5,000 gold coins. That's an amount we can't possibly pay. The bull demon, yeah, that name suits him. He looks like the type of guy who would beat someone up just for breathing wrong. His deep, rumbling voice booms through the guild hall as he glares at the guild master. Drafting a plan? You said that on the 1st day. And yet, here we are, still waiting. I've heard about your failures. How many times are you going to make a fool out of me? Just as the tension in the room reaches its peak, the doors swing open, and in step the protagonist and the Fox Beastman. The Fox Beastman's eyes widen in shock as he spots the bull demon. The client's already here. The protagonist crosses his arms and smirks. That beefy guy's the client? Figures. You can tell just by looking at him. He reeks of money. Then, shifting his gaze, he asks, by the way, you didn't send a rescue team, did you? The Fox Beastman lets out a tired sigh. We did. As soon as we accepted the request, we sent out a squad. But the location is deep in the mountains, so we had to be careful not to make any suspicious moves. We sent 15 people, all around level 20, with the Vice Guild Master leading them. We thought we had it under control. His expression darkens as he recalls the mission, but we didn't even get close to the enemy base. The entire area was filled with traps and ambushes. We walked straight into a nightmare. The enemy group has around 20 members, with an average level of 19. Their leader is a level 25 berserker. If it had been a straight-up fight, we might have had a chance, but they turned it into a complete disaster. The protagonist listens, rubbing his chin. So even getting to their base is a huge disadvantage. And if you send over 10 people again, you'll just make yourselves an obvious target. The Fox Beastman nods grimly. Exactly. After our first failure, we tried 3 more times, sending everyone we could. But every attempt ended the same way, incomplete failure. The protagonist exhales through his nose. After failing so many times, the enemy is probably feeling confident. They're expecting you to come back and are fully prepared. The Fox Beastman lets out a frustrated groan, rubbing his head. Yeah, we realized too late that brute force wasn't going to work. But by the time we started thinking smarter, we'd already wasted too much time. That's why the guild master called you in. It's do or die at this point. Then, out of nowhere, the Beastman drops to his knees, his eyes welling up with exaggerated puppy dog tears. Please, we only have 1 day left. If we fail again, the hostage will be killed, the Pace Guild will be ruined, and we'll be drowning in compensation fees. Please, we need your help. The protagonist blinks. Calm down. Internally, he starts assessing the situation. A mountain hideout filled with traps, enemies averaging level 19, with a level 25 berserker leading them. Nothing too crazy. My divine eyes and duplication skill should come in handy. But sacrifice is too draining. I'll need to swap it out for something else. Suddenly, the bull demon slams his fist on the table again, his voice shaking the walls. Let me make this clear one last time. If you fail this request, you will either pay 10 times the reward in compensation or immediately disband the guild. His voice echoes, hammering the threat into everyone's minds. 10 times the reward. That's 5,000 gold coins. Do you understand? The protagonist's eyes lock onto the bull demon. His gaze sharpens. So that's what this is about. Not once had this guy mentioned his daughter. Not once had he shown concern for her safety. The only thing he kept talking about was money. The bull demon turns his gaze away from the guild master, his deep voice rumbling like distant thunder. Enough stalling. Answer me now. Will this request succeed? If not, you better prepare those 5,000 gold coins. The guild master, his face pale with panic, stammers, well, 5,000 gold coins isn't something I can just pull out immediately. One of the beastmen beside him tries to calm things down. Please, sir, let's be reasonable. We're still finalizing our plan. We'll definitely rescue your daughter. Before he can finish, the protagonist steps forward, his voice cutting through the tension like a blade. She can be saved. The entire room falls silent as he strides toward the bull demon with unshakable confidence. Your daughter will be rescued. We'll have her back by tomorrow. The bull demon narrows his eyes and jabs a finger toward him. And who the hell is this? He turns to the guild master, his voice dripping with skepticism. Some random human waltzes in and starts making big promises. What kind of joke is this? Even the guild master looks confused, but before he can respond, the fox beastman steps in. With a smirk, he speaks lightly, "Guild master, this is the guy I mentioned earlier. Looks like he's decided to take the job." Hearing that, the guild master stares at the protagonist in shock. "Wait him!" The bull demon exhales through his nose, crossing his arms. "A beastman guild hiring a human?" "Umph." He coughs and then, with a smirk, says, "Fine. You say you can do it? Let's see what happens tomorrow. But don't forget, if you fail, that's 5,000 gold coins you owe me." The protagonist doesn't even flinch. Instead, his smirk widens. "In that case, Winton, let's make a wager." The bull demon raises an eyebrow. "A wager?" The protagonist crosses his arms. "If I rescue your daughter, you double the reward, 1,000 gold coins." The entire guild hall erupts in murmurs. The bull demon scoffs. "Are you an idiot? Do you think you can fool me with some cheap bet?" The protagonist raises a hand. "Hold on. Let me finish." His expression sharpens as he leans forward. "If I fail," his voice grows firm, his eyes burning with intensity, "I'll pay you 50,000 gold coins." Silence. Then Pua. Two beastmen in the back cough up blood on the spot. The sheer insanity of the number sends shockwaves through the room. The bull demon, still holding his cigarette, squints at the protagonist like he's looking at a lunatic. 50,000? You're the one who brought it up, so don't think you can back out now. He exhales a puff of smoke. "All right, I accept. If you save her, I'll double the reward. But if you fail, you owe me 50,000 gold coins." Sometime later, a contract is drafted. The bull demon shoves the paper toward the guild master. "Now sign it." The guild master, hands shaking, hesitates before scribbling his name. His voice is barely a whisper. "Fail. 5,000 gold. Or 50,000. We didn't choose either of those options." As the bull demon heads for the exit, he glances back. "Fine. Let's see what happens tomorrow." Then, with a smirk, he disappears into the night. The tension remains thick in the room. One of the beastmen turns to the guild master, his voice full of disbelief. "Guild master, why did you sign that?" His gaze then shifts to the protagonist, narrowing his eyes. "Hey, human, you just put our guild on the brink of ruin. I've been to that location myself. This isn't some simple request. Where does your confidence even come from?" The protagonist, rubbing his temple, sighs. "Who knows? Maybe I've got a chance." The beastman's tail bristles in anger. "Who knows? Maybe?" We have 50,000 gold coins on the line, you lunatic. Before the argument can escalate further, a voice interrupts. The president of a shaman association has arrived. Everyone stiffens. The guild master's eyes widen in shock. Let him in. Immediately, the protagonist tilts his head, muttering under his breath. President of the shaman association? If I'm not mistaken, then that means. And just as he expected, in steps Doug, the president of a shaman association. The room falls silent as his imposing presence fills the space. His sharp gaze sweeps across the room before settling on the guild master. Guild master Pace. Vice guild master Hugh. It's been a while. The guild master, snapping out of his shock, gestures toward chair. Doug, it's been tough with the economy, but please have a seat. Vice guild master Hugh bows slightly. Doug, I called you here to help treat the injured. Our guild's priest couldn't handle it. Please assist us. Doug nods. That's why I came. His sharp eyes scan Hugh before he speaks again. I heard you took the lead on a mission and got yourself injured. Hugh, scratching the back of his head, gives a sheepish chuckle. It's nothing really. Doug doesn't respond. Instead, he raises a hand, activating his healing aura. A faint golden light envelopes Hugh, and immediately, he feels the pain in his body fade. I can feel my wounds healing. As expected from Doug. Doug, however, doesn't seem too focused on Hugh. Instead, his gaze drifts toward the protagonist, who's been standing off to the side. The protagonist smirks and takes a step forward. It's a tough mission, but I'm confident we'll succeed. Doug, we meet again. Doug's eyes widen. His calm, composed expression finally breaks. Tsuyoshi. Vice Guild Master Hugh stares at them both in shock. Wait, you two know each other? Sometime later, over a quiet tea session, the conversation continues. Doug takes a slow sip from his cup, swirling the murky tea in his hands. So, you've been asked to handle a tough request, huh? He takes another sip, then shrugs. Yeah, I think you can do it. The protagonist nods. Thanks, I'll do my best. On the side, the guild master leans toward the fox beastman, whispering, You two seem close. Doug isn't someone ordinary people can easily befriend. I had to pull a lot of strings just to get him here. Who exactly is Tsuyoshi? The fox beastman shakes his head. I don't know, but it seems he's far more powerful than we thought. Hugh, listening in, turns toward the protagonist. If that's the case, Tsuyoshi, let's do this together. My experience might be useful, and as Vice Guild Master, it's my duty to keep an eye on you. The protagonist sets his tea down with a soft clink and stands up. I don't mind. Without another word, he walks toward the door, his confidence unwavering. Your wound should be mostly healed by now. Let's go. Just before he steps out, Doug speaks up. Be careful. Hugh watches the interaction with a confused expression. You're in quite a hurry. After the protagonist leaves, the guild master approaches Doug with a serious expression. President, do you know Tsuyoshi? We don't know much about him. We called him in desperation because of his strength, but we're worried about his abilities. Doug exhales deeply. I do know him. He recently passed the White Shaman exam. And not just passed it, he's the strongest White Shaman in the North. The most talented I've ever seen. And he's an extremely powerful warrior. He's also the only person I know who cleared Cardiolise by himself. The guild master and the fox beastman freeze in shock. He's a White Shaman. The fox beastman stares in disbelief. And he cleared Cardiolise alone. Doug nods. I don't know how, but it seems he's even stronger than we thought. Sometime later, in the middle of the city, Hugh crosses his arms and glares at the protagonist. Listen, I'm trying not to get mad here. We're putting everything on the line for this mission, and you went and raised the stakes to 50,000 gold coins without consulting anyone. You're pushing your luck. How can you be so confident? The protagonist, calm as ever, replies, Don't worry about me. I understand how you feel. Preparations are necessary. You know this city well, don't you? Guide me to a location. Hugh sighs. Where are we headed? To replenish our supplies. Hugh shakes his head. We've already got enough medicine and standard equipment. There's no need to buy anything extra. And let me be clear, we won't be reimbursed by the guild. Got it. The protagonist smirks. No, I want to go to the arena. Hugh blinks. The arena? You want to watch a match? This has to be some kind of joke. Seeing how serious the protagonist is, Hugh groans and reluctantly walks toward the arena. Meanwhile, the protagonist thinks to himself, a warrior isn't the right fit for this mission. I need something else. When they arrive, Hugh sighs and gestures toward the entrance. We're here. Just a reminder, tomorrow is the deadline. If we fail, there's no turning back. Then, Hugh approaches a large beastman and slides a few coins into his hand. What kind of matches do you have today? Before the beastman can answer, the protagonist steps up. I don't want to watch a match. I want to participate in one. Register me. Hugh's jaw drops. Wait, what? You want to fight in the arena? Are you out of your mind? This doesn't make any sense. The beastman at the entrance points toward the registration booth. If you're serious, go inside, fill out the forms, and pay the entry fee yourself. Without hesitation, the protagonist strides toward the arena entrance. His thoughts remain sharp and focused. I'll use the divine selection system to adjust my attributes to an assassin. This mission doesn't need a warrior. It needs someone who can blend into the shadows and take down targets without drawing attention. Through combat, I'll select the most suitable assassin skills and duplicate them.